So thank you so much. And no worries about pronunciation. It's not so easy. So let me just share the screen, and we can take it from there. I will just put this on and hope you will see this as, yeah, as a full screen. So just please let me know. Oh, we have
Yes, it
one
works.
question, Tripati. You wanted to ask something? You have raised the hand. Maybe it's a mistake. Awesome.
Yeah, it's okay. We will take questions towards the end. Please put it on the chat box right now if you would like to, or we will take them towards the end as well. Thanks.
So let's move on. My name is Renata Jovanovic, and I am Chief Scientific Officer for Deloitte South Asia, based in Bangalore. Recently moved from Germany to Bangalore, and I'm also Canadian who moved from Canada to Germany before moving to India. So eventually, I'll probably close the loop on Earth and go back to Canada. So I'm also head of our frontier labs, anything to do with material science, AI, quantum computing, also our global quantum computing ambassador. And this presentation is also going to be fast. I have a lot of slides. You will get them. Maybe some of them we are going to skip because Ed has already mentioned some of the things. And it's about capturing opportunities, what would we call soft landing in Canada, supercharging your startup with Canadian ecosystem powerhouse, because it's really ecosystems powerhouses. So we will dive into these opportunities for you. So why Canada? Except from exceptional nature and exceptional people as well, very nice and pleasant, polite people. Canada is among top-rated business-ready countries by the World Bank. And Ed has also mentioned it. It's about how do you start business, how do you run business, how do you access finance, daily operations, and also, for example, if it's not working, how do you resolve insolvency? So Canada is always in the first quartile of all kind of global countries. So it's easy to start and operate as well as close if necessary. Another interesting rating is by Shopify. You know, it's a biggest B2B e-commerce, and they kind of have their own ideas what to measure, startup cost and processes, tax rates, and so other things. And actually, Canada came as a top number destination if you are in e-commerce business. So I will touch a little bit about Canadian market as for those of you who are in B2C business. So Canada is the 10th world economic power, 2.2 trillion nominal GDP, 41 million population. Might seem too little for you, but coming from 1.4 billion, but the GDP per capita is very high. And if we dig a little bit deeper, about 26 million of these people are consumers. If you're in healthcare, for example, 20% of the population is actually 65 and older. So if you are market in a business of I don't know, assisted living or living at home and not going into assisted living, healthcare, and all these kind of things, this is the interesting segment for you. And also about 5.1% of population is Indian origin. So there are some great examples how people enter the Canadian market while tailoring their proposition for this particular population. If you are in B2C business, here is just a graph from 2022. I could not find any recent data, but I don't think they changed that a lot. Here are the industries that are contributing to the national GDP. So mostly real estate and rental and leasing industry, but then followed by manufacturing, also 200 billion Canadian dollars is not, not the small amount. Healthcare, finance, public admin, construction, and going down to retail, transportation, and so on. So there is everything for, or there is all industries are there contributing. Maybe arts would be a little bit critical, but still it's a couple of $1 billion as well. If we look forward, what are the deep tech areas that Canada is, let's say, owning in this case? So it's definitely AI, it's quantum technologies, FinTech, biotech, and clean tech. And when I say biotech, it's everything under the biotech. It's agri-tech, pharma, development of health tech solutions, all these kind of things. We will touch on these more in details in a couple of next couple of slides. I call this slide "Been there, done that." So there are successful Indian companies who entered Canadian market, and they came from anything from IT, consultancy, tech, from pharma or healthcare to manufacturing and retail, such as Reliance and JSP Steels. And what these companies have done to make it so successful is actually they leveraged Canada's strong talent pool, and Ed mentioned this as well. They grow and this kind of use this stable regulatory and business environment for their growth. They took opportunities in digital and other transformational tech. They had strong Indian diaspora connections as well, and they kind of complement the industry graph that I have shown just a slide before. So they are entering strong in these, oops, sorry, I know what happened here. Entering these, pigging back on Canadian strong industries in this case. So let's look at the deep tech ecosystems in a little bit of more details. So you have heard Ed saying, oh, AI is our home turf. So this is just one of them. So common market entry ways for deep tech. Either you make a subsidiary, you work with distributors, so if you have some hardware products that you could distribute, or you work with system integrators if you're in software business. But for the deep tech startups that are looking to expand, soft landing using deep tech ecosystem is also recommended. It's the easiest way to do it via joining ecosystems, joining the opportunities there. So you have seen a graph that Ed has shown. There are a couple of, let's say, big Canadian AI clusters. And here is a little bit more details, and it's not exhaustive. Every time I show this slide, I said, this is outdated the moment I show it because its ecosystem is rapidly, AI ecosystem is really rapidly developing. What you could look for, and I have a little bit more details, is in the middle of it are different accelerators, incubators, and venture capitals. You will see BDC, it's a very important one. I will deep dive in Creative Destruction Lab for a particular reason. I'll tell you later. You see the research labs in particular areas. So, for example, these are in Toronto, related to Toronto. These are, for example, in Waterloo, Edmonton, and so on. And as you can recognize, there are actually these 5 hubs, Toronto, Waterloo, Edmonton, Vancouver, and Montreal, but also international players are joining as well. You see IBM, you see Samsung, Intel, and so on, Microsoft, and so on. And also, as Ed mentioned, a lot of outside cluster cities that actually also had great startups in AI. Market size is predicted to be $75 billion by 2035. So it definitely pays off to enter and connect in AI ecosystem. Just a little bit deep dive in Ontario snapshot 24-25. Super interesting. 2.6 billion is venture capital investment in Ontario AI-based companies, and growth is 70% year on year. So it's a very, let's say, substantial amount. that is mostly invested in financial services, energy or energy transition, manufacturing, agriculture, and so on. So you will get these slides so you can read a little bit more in details what is really of interest to you. Here, just a little bit of numbers for us to pinpoint at the moment. I don't see the questions and I don't see the hands. So if you have something, feel free to interrupt. It's good if we could be also a little bit interactive. Another big area where Canada was one of the first countries who had actually a quantum strategy is, of course, quantum ecosystem. Market size, don't be fooled by this number. It's only market size for quantum technologies, so 1.5 billion by 2035. Those are only for those who are producing quantum component hardware, software, and so on. The value add to the market is almost 10, 15, 20 times larger. So it's a lot of billions that we are talking in the future. Similar cities that are mentioned here, you see also a lot of universities in this ecosystem and so on. Worth mentioning is actually D-Wave, who is operating, I think now for 15 years. So before quantum was even quantum in everybody's mouth, and D-Wave was there in Vancouver. The other one, Xanadu, it's a unique photon-based quantum system that is also on stock exchange today. Some other great things. But D-Wave and Xanadu are enabling Canada's quantum sovereignty. So in Canada, if we want to, we don't depend on anybody else, or not on IBM, even though they have presence there. So if you're in the quantum ecospace, feel free to reach out. I'm continuing with the FinTech ecosystem, which is market size of 18.5 billion by 2033, so much sizable. And there is no map showing anything here because there is such a large amount of FinTech companies in Canada that I'm leaving you.
मैंने check करा उसका
Somebody is not unmuted. Sorry, somebody confirm करेगा. Thank you. So that's why there is no kind of a map showing you the startups. Just in payment, there are hundreds of payment startups on this website. You can go and search by the province, by city, by area. So you can enjoy in your in your time exploring FinTech. Similar for biotech, here total number of biotech companies, and I said including all type of biotechnology, agri-tech, veterinary stuff, and so on. It's about 23 or almost 24,000 biotech companies. So biotech ecosystem of Canada is one of the largest that we have in the world. And if you can look at this, if you are in this area, there are almost 6,000 investors in biotech space, and also then non-profit organization, public organization, and so on. So this market size is about $206 billion by 2030. So also very, very large market size. And now finally, one that has absolute the highest market size is 1.5 trillion by 2030, clean tech. And then it includes everything. Somebody was asking for, I think, aviation fuel or similar in the chat. So anything from research and development for clean technologies, pilot demonstrations, to growth and scale up and export and supporting clean technology adoption is included in this clean growth hub. And there are a lot of startups in there. So Let's have a look into incubators, accelerators, something that you can use and go there, connect and see if there's anything that could flow your way. So Canada has over 100 incubators, accelerators, different programs as of 2025. I also provided here a link, so you will see on this founders beta, there are hundreds of the incubators, but I have featured here three of them. The first one is Creative Destruction Lab, who is #1 Deeptech accelerator. Not only Canada, they operate globally for anything deep tech, AI, quantum, biotech, space, science. Then DMZ Toronto Metropolitan University is one of the top global university incubators, dealing with SAS, FinTech, health tech, marketplace startups, and similar. And finally, Velocity, University of Waterloo, is #5 in Founders Beta 2025, #2 in Co-Founders Beta, that this is this kind of a listing, dealing with quite interesting space, hardware, robotics, photonics, AI, quantum, and deep tech as well. So these are the three of them. I'm featuring next one a little bit in details, Creative Destruction Lab, because I'm sitting also in their work streams on quantum and AI as a mentor for the startups. So basically, Creative Destruction Lab is associated with Rotman School of Management of University of Toronto. Their startups, so every year, about 2,000 startups enters this incubator/accelerator. And so far, they generated about 95 billion value through these startups who went through their program. And basically, there are 23 work streams, and you can see everything under the sun is there. So you can join climate, you can join energy, health, whatever is your area. As I said, I'm mentoring quantum work stream and artificial intelligence work stream. They are operating also in about 18 cities, mostly of them in North America, recently in Germany, Berlin, where I used to live as well. So there is opportunity for you to join. Somewhere midsummer, the let's say competition is open, so you can apply to be guided by mentors. And what is interesting, mentors are also VCs, departments of governments of Canada, US, if you're into that, in space agencies and these kind of things, and also private companies, CVCs, and other angel investors. What happens there? You enter the program. It's about 9 months, and there are several stages in this program. So we are guiding you on all kind of different things. So technical things, if you are into that space, for example, quantum computing. If you're trying to produce hardware, we will guide you how to do that. But we are also guiding you how to do how to grow your idea or scale up your startup by providing you some business advice. So for example, what's your roadmap, or what's your go-to-market plan, and so on. So worthwhile paying attention to. Go to the website, and if eligible, feel free to apply. Good. Notable VCs and PEs that you should put on your map is the next chapter. So Canadian VC investment in 2024 was about $8 billion, 7.9 billion exactly, in 592 deals that were closed, mostly, let's say, half of it in Ontario, and then followed by Quebec and British Columbia and Alberta, a little bit smaller amounts in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland and other provinces. So you see, for example, where these VCs and Ps are active. Top 5 VCs that you should have in mind if you're going there: BDC Venture Capital, so it's Business Development Canada. It's Canada's largest, most active VC investor, backed by federal government, active across deep tech, life science, climate tech, you name it. Innovia Capital, also most globally recognized Canadian VC firm, 375 investments and so on. Then Fund Solidarity from Quebec is a VCP hybrid investor and so on. The Real Ventures, most active early stage. So if you're just starting with idea and getting into it, this is the VC for you. Active in tech, AI, SAS, and especially interested in Canadian founders. And then Pioneering Fund, which is Y Combinator linked fund. Top PEs. So PEs also have interest in startups. So most of people think, oh, PE is just for merger acquisitions and takeovers and these kind of things. But PEs are also financing startups. So Canadian Business Growth Fund from Toronto is one of those, focuses on technology, SAS services, growth stage innovation businesses, and good for startups seeking about 3 to 20 million growth funds. Alistair Equity Partners, Calgary, and so on. I will not list all of them. You will get the slides, and you can go into details. But you can see it's anything from 3 to 20 million, and then AIP Private Capital 10 to 50 million, and all type of startups from B2B to expansion, recapitalization without giving ownership. There is everything for everybody, so to say, on this field. So going back from what is happening in VC and other areas, something that you should consider in are regulatory considerations. I'm not touching everything, but if you're in AI and similar areas, data protection and privacy here is a big, as in Europe as in other places. So it's called PIPEDA. Quebec, if you're doing something with Quebec, has even stricter AI governance. Sometimes clients will ask you about local data residency. You have to provide that if you have some, I don't know, clouds where the cloud is located and so on. And of course, anything with the AI has to be transparent, explainable, especially in health and finance. So if you're in those areas, be prepared for those kind of things. Then if you're in area of hardware, devices, and sensors, there are some certifications that you need to make sure you pass them. For example, Transport Canada rules, if you are into drone, robotic solution, autonomous, whatever, so car, appliances and so on, you have to pass certain tests. And then finally, if you're in health tech and biotech, you need to have, as similar FDA, you have to have Health Canada approvals, you have to have validated clinical pathways and all these kind of things. So just to bear in mind that you might see these things if you are active in these areas. Finally, tax incentives, and I think Ed mentioned everything. So, again, scientific research and experimental development, 35% refundable credit on all R&D expenditures like people, cost, and so on. And you can also be supported with some provincial R&D credits like Ontario and BC. Then if you're in clean tech, digital media, AI incentives, specific provinces on Ontario, British Columbia have refundable digital media tax credits and so on. If you're clean and climate tech, also major federal funding is available from Sustainable Development Technologies Canada. You can search about these in details. Finally, also MyDucks was already mentioned. So hiring grants, internship programs, and so on. That all kind of runs very successfully for over many years. So you can tap into this as well. So finally, I have no other slides apart from this one. So if I could not motivate you at all with any of the previous slides, this is my final motivation slide. So these are the top 10 youngest Canadian billionaires. So it's billionaires with the B in 2026. And they are as diverse as Canada is and as diverse in terms of what they are doing from FinTech, solar, clouds, and God knows what. And they are worth, let's say, over $1 billion or close to $1 billion. So there is a link here. If it's inspirational, you can look into the details. So I wish you good luck, smooth waters to enter the Canada and or the Canadian ecosystems, and happy to connect, stay in touch, and be of assistance if possible. Thank you so much for your time.